Hello. I've been wanting to talk about, and I don't know if the video is live. It usually is, but it takes a minute. Recently, I have experienced people being very upset that I talk about happiness, that I talk about the benefit of thinking about positively about your life instead of thinking negatively about your life. And I've been trying to understand like where this is coming from. And I get that there are people who, talk about being positive, but in like it's just let me just go into it, right? Okay. So what we need to understand is that we have a body and then we have a mind. And what will happen with a lot of people is they will feel a feeling. So let's say that this person feels sadness, right? And it's the same person, okay? So let's say we feel sadness. So both these people feel sadness, okay? A positive mindset is okay that they feel sadness. Right now, I am sad. It is a feeling that I have. It's caused by my circumstance. My cat died, my friend died, I lost a business deal, whatever it may be. You feel sadness, but you're not judging the sadness. You're okay with the sadness. You accept the sadness. A positive mindset knows that it is temporary. How I feel is okay and is temporary. Temporary. Okay? So a positive mindset is okay that you feel sadness. And sometimes it's a good idea to embrace the sadness and to really, all the times, it's good to feel what you're feeling. Like I feel what it is you're feeling because it is an emotion that wants to be felt, it wants to be seen, it wants to be acknowledged, and then it wants to go on its way, okay? Emotions, as my sister explains, are just energy in motion. So it's an energy that wants to be felt, and then and you feel the emotions of it, and then it goes away. Okay? A positive mindset is one that says, I feel sad, and that is okay. It is a temporary feeling that I feel, and sadness can be good. Like go watch a movie that makes you cry, and you're sad, but you're so happy you watched that movie. You're so happy you got to see that story. So when you have a moment of sadness, feel the sadness, cry for the sadness, allow the sadness to move through you. But what you don't want to do is judge the sadness. And that is what a negative mindset is. So a negative mindset is one that says, I feel sadness and I hate that I feel sadness. I hate that sadness is in my body right now. I hate that I am sad. Now I'm disappointed that I'm sad. I'm angry that I'm sad. I hate that I'm sad. And you're compounding, you're avoiding the sadness, but you're eagerly eating up the anger and the frustration and the disappointment because of that you feel sadness. Whatever we feel is fine. Whatever we feel is good. If I feel sadness, okay, I feel sadness. Feel the sadness. Allow the sadness to move through you. Watch a movie that makes you cry. Let out the sadness, okay? When you feel happy, I'm great that I feel happy. A lot of times, the negative mindset person will also feel happy and then begin to judge the happy. Oh, it's not real. It's going to go away. It's going to disappear. You need to stop judging your feelings and accept your feelings as they are. Now, you can have discernment and you can say, I feel like maybe you don't want to feel so much sadness all the time. And you want to change how much that feeling comes in. One, if you actually allow yourself to really feel it, it doesn't linger. It lingers when you stop trying to feel it. The sadness hangs around a lot longer when you're judging the sadness. When you hate that you have sadness, sadness will stick around a lot longer because you've stuck it to anger that you're sadness, you've stuck it to disappointment that you're sadness. You're amplifying the sadness when you judge the fact that you feel sadness, okay? But when you accept that you feel sadness, you allow yourself to feel the sadness, you cry out the sadness, you get a hug from a friend and comfort from a friend that you feel sadness, and then you begin to feel better Okay? So you can use discernment, and you can say, I feel sad often, and you can maybe do some different things in your life that change how you feel. But the biggest, most important thing that I'm saying right now is not to judge yourself or put yourself down for feeling the way that you feel. Okay? When I see this phrase toxic positivity, it's because these people, the people who think that you should judge your feelings, they don't realize that this option exists. They don't realize that you can have a positive outlook about whatever it is you're feeling. They put feelings into negative feelings and positive feelings, and they judge all negative feelings as bad. And if they're feeling negative feelings, they hate when someone has a positive feeling or highlight that positive feelings exist. And they're constantly judging the way that they feel. So when you try to say that you can feel good about feeling sad, they think that you're saying the sadness doesn't exist. You can feel good about feeling sad at the same time. You can have sadness, and you can be okay that you have sadness. Like, if you're in this mindset of constantly judging how you feel and deciding that how you feel is good or bad, that's where your problems lie. That's what makes it hard for you to go through life, to experience emotions, because you're running away from the emotion that you feel. And this is where coming to healing trauma is. Healing trauma is sticking on this side and saying, I don't want to feel that feeling because that feeling is scary. But you already done lived through it. You've already survived the feeling you're running away from. Right? When we experience a traumatic moment, we tend to push those feelings down, all the badness, the things that we went through. Like, if I were to recall a memory of the time I was sexually assaulted, let's go something crazy deep, right? If I keep recalling, if I avoid wanting to heal that, one, I'm living it constantly. Because you have a program and a conditioning and a pattern within you that came from you experiencing that traumatic moment, and you will repeat that cycle over and over again. So, like, for instance, I could have taken on a belief that men are scary, men are awful, men sexually assault me, and now I'm scared every time I'm around a man because I'm unwilling to face the feeling of how I felt in that moment, because we've suppressed it, because suppressing makes us feel better, but it doesn't really, it just hides it from us, but it's running on auto cycle in our bodies regardless. So we will say, I don't want to face my trauma because it was so sad, it was so scary, it was so awful. What I do is, instead of recalling how scary and awful and how bad it was, is I think about the woman who was there in that moment, and what do I want to give her? I want to give her love. I want to give her comfort. If older me can go back in time to little me who was assaulted, and I could be there to love on her and to give her the comfort that she needs, that's what I do to heal my trauma and move on from it, so that I'm not trapped in the cycle of whatever that traumatic moment created, because it happens. When we go through a traumatic moment, we try to create a survival mechanism going in the future. We try to avoid those situations. We try to never be there again because we're unwilling to feel what we felt. What you need to feel is how awful that was, and now I can come in and comfort you, and now I can come in and love you. We get to modify our memories in a sense when recalling a tragic memory. Don't think of how awful it was. Go to the girl in that memory, love on her, comfort her, bring her home. Like, that's how we move past. That's how we have a positive mindset. I literally accept every traumatic thing I've been through. Everything. And I don't look at it as bad. I look at it as something I experienced, and that from that bad experience, I can go in and comfort myself and love myself. That is part of the positive mindset. Everything I went through is working out in my favor. So even though what I went through was sucky and awful, and I would never wish it on anyone else, I have a positive mindset that what I went through is ultimately leading me to something better. And people attack that mindset all the time. I didn't deserve my trauma. I never said you deserved it. I didn't deserve anything that I went through. But I decide to look upon it with love, because I look at it as the girl who went through it, and I love her, and I hug on her, and I give her all the comfort that I wish I would have had back then. I do it now. It allows me to heal that memory. It allows me to heal that trauma. It allows me to move on. I get to be even better from that moment. And it's because I hold on to a positive mindset that everything I'm experiencing is okay. Everything that I'm going through is okay. It's all going to be okay. It's temporary what is happening, and I get to move beyond that. If we judge our I'm backwards here. If we judge what we're experiencing and what we're feeling as bad, I shouldn't experience this is bad. I shouldn't feel this way, this is bad. You're in a negative circle, and you're compounding feeling on top of feeling on top of feeling. You're making it worse. You're going in a downward spiral, where a positive mindset is an upward spiral. So I'm still really trying to grapple with this whole toxic positivity thing, because I cannot see what is wrong about being positive. Now, if you are a person who hates how you feel, sadness, and you try to pretend, you try to ignore, you're trying to ignore the sadness, right? And you're saying, oh, I don't feel sad, I'm happy. I can understand how you might call that toxic, but positivity itself is not toxic. That person is not actually positive. That person is pretending. It's toxic pretending. Okay, so being positive in and of itself is perfect, is fine, is awesome, it's beautiful. I assume that everything I go through, everything I experience is working out for me to be what I want to be, what I want to have in my life, and I trust that. That is a positive mindset. A negative mindset says that what I've experienced is hurting me, what I've experienced is ruining me, what I've been through has ruined me. Like, that's the negative mindset, and you're judging what you have felt and what you experienced as being bad. I focus on not the circumstances that were around me. I focus on who I was in that moment, and then I love on that person in that moment, and I trust that everything I went through, everything I experienced is guiding me to where it is that I want to go in my life. That is a positive mindset. So another thing I want to talk about, and I think I'm going to cut this video out, is the difference between our mind and our body. We have to understand that feelings are in our body, and that's basically what's happening here. Is you feel sadness in your body, and then your mind judges the feeling as if it's good or bad. That's where so many problems occur, is people who hate the way they're feeling, and they want to change the way that they won't accept the way that they're feeling. And again, you have discernment. Like, if you're constantly feeling something and you don't want to feel that, it means you need to feel it and let it go. If you are constantly finding yourself sad and you don't want to be sad, allow yourself to really, really feel the feelings of being sad. Because what's happening is you're avoiding it, but it keeps popping up because it's still there. You haven't actually allowed yourself to move through the emotions of having the feeling. Like, if you find yourself having a lot of sadness in your life, watch a lot of sad movies, like sad, happy movies that make you cry, like The Notebook and stuff like that, where it's like this beautiful love story, but it's so sad because now she has dementia and stuff, and like, oh my God, it makes me cry, like I cry. Like, me healing my birth trauma, so I wanted to have a home birth. I wanted to have a baby in a tub, and my water broke, and for 5 days I attempted to try and have my baby at home in a birth tub naturally. I tried everything I could do to get my body to go into contractions, and ultimately I had to go to the hospital. I had to have a C-section, which in my mind was the last thing I would ever want to do, to have a baby. And that, to me, created trauma within me, because I had to go through something I didn't want to go through. I had to go through something I really, really wanted to avoid. And I spent 5 days attempting to avoid it, and attempting to go in the other direction. And none of it really worked out for me, in a sense, which ultimately is a good thing, because my baby couldn't handle contractions. And so, again, I trust that everything I'm going through is good, but it still created trauma with me in that moment. How I heal that is actually watching birth videos and just crying and crying. Yesterday we were watching a movie that happened to have a woman giving birth, and I was like, "Rah!" And I was crying, and just tears are just flowing down my face. And David is like, "Are you okay?" And he was like, "Our baby's here, everything's fine." I'm like, "Rah!" And I'm just like crying and crying, like I'm allowing myself to feel it. I'm not avoiding it. I'm not pushing it down. I'm not saying I shouldn't feel sadness. Toxic, this idea of toxic positivity to be like, if I'm actually sad, but I say, all I think about is the fact that I have a baby and it's fine. Like, no, feel the fact that it's sad. Be open with it that it's sad. I can be both sad and happy at the same time, and I don't judge those feelings. I understand that I'm sad because I had a birth I didn't want, and I am also happy that I have my baby. But I'm also not judging what I went through. It's for whatever reason, that's what had to happen. For whatever reason, that's my story. And I trust that everything is ultimately working out in my greatest good. And that is how I make peace with what I have been through. When we hate what we have been through, we can't heal it, in a sense. Okay? I'm not saying, oh my God, I'm so glad I was sexually assaulted. That's not what I'm saying. But when we make peace with the person who had to go through it, when we love the person who had to go through it, when we comfort her, when we love on her, and we turn our awful experiences into moments of comfort and love and giving compassion, like so much of my healing has been going to past versions of me who had painful moments and making peace with that by comforting the little girl who went through that moment. Like, that is so much of my therapy that has allowed me to make huge changes in my life, that has allowed me to be the author of my life, that has allowed me to make over $500,000 in 2 years, that has allowed me to build a multiple six-figure business, that has allowed me to create multiple YouTube channels and multiple streams of income, like, to be able to bring in the love of my life, to be able to have a miracle baby. Like, it is within healing and accepting everything that I have been through, trusting that it's all working out for my greatest good, and having an outlook that everything I'm feeling is okay, everything I've experienced is okay, it's all okay. I allow myself to feel my sadness, I allow myself to feel the pain of whatever it was, and then I go in and I comfort, and I love, and I cherish the person who had to go through that moment. That is how I modify my trauma memories. Is I focus on the girl who had to go through it and loving and comforting her in that moment, and I add love to a point in my life that had pain, right? It was devoid of love. Going through that sexual assault and everything that I've been through was devoid of love in that moment, so I pour love into it by comforting the girl that had to go through it, by loving the girl that had to go through it. And I can't do that unless I'm willing to feel the feelings she felt. Until I'm willing to acknowledge, oh my gosh, this was so sad, this was so awful, this was so painful, this was so traumatizing. I love you so much. I'm here to comfort you. I'm holding your hand in this moment. And I even do like physical things where I will, this is how I got myself out of a lot of traumatic moments that I was reliving, was comforting myself. And this is also a version of EMDR, where you're getting two sides of your brain to tap in. So you go on different sides and you're tapping in and you're allowing yourself to reprocess that moment with a more positive mindset, a more positive outlook of that situation. So I hope this helps. This helps to explain. I love to talk about all things related to being our best self. And that requires understanding our mindset, that requires emotional intelligence, that requires emotional regulation. And all of these things, when I work on all of those things, it allows me to live a life that I love. It allows me to wake up every day happy. It allows me to build my multiple six-figure business. It allows me to just right? When we're trapped, when we are judging our feelings, why we hate the way we feel, when we're angry about the way we feel, we're disappointed about the way we feel, we compound ourselves into a downward spiral, and we lose power. We lose our ability to create our life. We lose our ability to decide that we get to have what we want to have, and we get to do it all. And so this is why I'm so passionate about talking about these things. So I haven't been able to, I don't know if anyone's commenting. I can't see comments. Facebook doesn't always show me. But if you have any questions or anything, drop it in the comments. Let me know. It is so important to understand that having a positive mindset doesn't mean you don't feel sadness. Doesn't mean you don't feel any negative feelings. And I don't think anything is negative in a sense. All feelings are feelings that just want to be felt and moved on. Felt and move on. And feelings just come and go all the time. Okay? And when we can understand that feelings come and go, when we can ride the waves of our feelings without judging them and accepting them as they are, life becomes amazing. So much more amazing than what we experience when we're constantly hating the way we feel, when we're judging the way we feel, when we compound sadness with anger for being sadness, we compound sadness by being disappointed that we're sadness. Stop that cycle. Stop that cycle. You feel sad, be sad, cry it out, be sad, okay? But trust that the sadness you're going through is perfect and that it is all leading to your best life. There is also, it just made me think about how there's people who do feel like they're constantly reliving the sadness without attaching the love. You've got to go back and attach the love to the sad moments by comforting and loving the version of you that had to do that, that had to go through that. Okay? There are a lot of people who would just repeat their sadness, repeat their sad story, live on their sad story. I'm not encouraging that. I'm saying feel it and move it on. Don't linger in it. Don't hang out in it. Go modify your memories by loving on yourself for the you that you were during that moment. And I think I'm going to create a meditation that will help you to go to your moments of trauma and to modify those memories by giving yourself love in those moments and allowing yourself to grow and blossom and evolve beyond being trapped in those moments. So I love you all. Have an amazing day.